It's Saturday Night Takeaway tonight at 7.
Our star guest announcer is Rob Beckett.
We go undercover on Ryland in a ridiculous Eurovision special.
There's the latest instalment of Murder at Bigwig Manor.
And Busted are here for the end of the show.
We will see you for all that and lots more live tonight at 7 o'clock. See you then.
Taking a look at the latest stories where you are now. It's the ITV News.
Hello, good evening. Heavy rain over the last few days has left homes flooded and drivers stranded. There have been almost 50 flood alerts in place across Berkshire, Surrey, Hampshire and Oxfordshire. Wantage and Didcot have been the worst hit, as Mike Pearce now reports.
For most of the last 24 hours, foul waste has flooded through part of this house in Wantage. The cause is drains and sewers unable to cope with several days of heavy rain. Some also have no water or low pressure.
It was all coming out up the manhole in the back garden, which goes to the sewers. So we had a river running past our back door through the garage to the road.
What's your reaction to this been?
Well, it's really disgusting because our house is surrounded by sewage. It's been quite worrying because we didn't know if it would come in the house. But we put sandbags at the doors and things, and I think that stopped it.
Thames Water is again under fire for pumping sewage into rivers to help it cope with the problem. But with around 50 rivers themselves in danger of flooding in Oxfordshire and Berkshire, there are fears it will spill into areas where people walk or even homes. Along this footpath, its drains and sewers once again unable to cope.
Very poor. They've got to go on the case and they've got to sort it, haven't they, really? It's, we're paying a lot of money and we find this sort of thing. And when you stand next to it, it's very strong smelling. It's quite awful. You see all the sewage coming down here. It's terrible.
Thames Water have apologised and say a burst main in Carterton is one issue, while they insist record amounts are being invested to increase sewer capacity.
We need a one-stop shop number for people to be able to call to get help, because that seems to be the biggest issue at the moment. Everyone's calling one agency, they say it's someone else, they say it's someone else, and it takes far too long to resolve, especially when there may well be more rain on its way as we speak.
Elsewhere, there have been difficult driving conditions. In Didcot, some were not heeding the road closed signs and getting stuck. Others took the risk and were more lucky. But in the end, it was left to the fire service to pump out the road and help rescue drivers. Once again, many are left counting the cost. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Wantage.
Thames Valley Police have arrested a 61-year-old man on suspicion of murder after a woman's body was pulled from the Thames and Kennet Marina in Caversham. The discovery was made around 10:30 this morning. Officers don't believe there's any danger to the local community. 3 men have been jailed for a total of 33 years after a violent burglary at a Portsmouth flat. Levar Greaves, Adibawali Maffo and Aaron Murray forced their way into the home in Craswell Street, demanding money and jewellery. One man, his 2 sons and a woman were tied up and threatened with a hot iron. Once the men had left, the victims managed to unite themselves and call the police. A Sussex police officer who picked 3 friends up from a night out on blue lights has been given a final written warning. A misconduct hearing at the Forces headquarters in Lewes heard how Robert Potts caused other cars to pull over and exceeded the speed limit. The warning is in place for 3 years. Next this evening, an adventurer is preparing for a challenge of a lifetime, walking the length of the Thames from source to sea to raise money for the homeless. This month, Charlotte Ainsley will be trekking 233 miles in 18 days, fundraising for Thames Reach. Inspired by a book she read, Charlotte will limit her budget during the journey, spending only £10 a day.
I was inspired to kind of do this on a budget after reading the book The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. And the book follows the story of Raina and her husband who lose everything they own after a financial dispute. And they essentially find themselves homeless. So after I've paid for campsites out of my £10 a day, I should be left with around £3 a day for food.
Hopefully it's dry for Charlotte during her challenge, because today, as I'm sure you've noticed, it's been pretty grotty, and a weekend lambing event near Watslington in Oxfordshire had to be cancelled because of the weather. Visitors should, though, be able to see some of the adorable new arrivals at Earth Trust tomorrow. Organisers were concerned today that drivers would get stuck in muddy fields.
Their safety is paramount, and also all the volunteers that are here, the staff, and too we need to look after the land itself, because after all that's what we are all about. So having lots of traffic and visitors on site when the fields are waterlogged is not also that great for the fields themselves.
So the forecast very important for lambs, also for runners. The Southampton and Brighton marathons taking place tomorrow. Let's check in with Pip now for the forecast.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello there. Well, despite a thoroughly soggy start to the day for some of us, conditions are improving nicely over the next few days. Mostly dry, some sunny spells to be found, mild by day, but some chilly nights as well. And it's all down to high pressure becoming increasingly well established across the UK over the next couple of days, for now at least, keeping any fronts very much at bay out towards the west there. Certainly through this evening and tonight, it looks pretty quiet. A good deal of clouds still on the scene, and that will be thick enough to give the odd spot of light rain or drizzle. But a good deal of dry weather, lighter winds as well, and with that blanket of cloud, it will be another frost-free night all round. Tomorrow morning then, quite a cloudy start initially, but it won't be long at all before that cloud starts to thin and break, and as we head into the afternoon, we should have some lovely sunshine developing across much of the region. And with more in the way of sunshine than we've seen today, and lighter winds as well, that April sunshine will feel really quite pleasant. Highs tomorrow, 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. High tides for tomorrow for Portland, they're 5:05 in the morning, 5:50 in the afternoon, and confirmation of more settled weather as we start the new week.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
So enjoy the dry day tomorrow if you can. We will see you as well tomorrow night at 6:45 for our next update. For now, though, from all of us here on the Saturday team, thanks for joining us and enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.